What up everyone, this is Hinukan and we're back for the next part of Campfire Stories where we're going to pick off and do the last 3 characters here. So that said, let's get right to it. But first, again, real quick, this game is free. If you want to play this, you can find it in the description of this video. It's an itch.io game, so yeah, go over there, check it out if you want to. But now that said, let's get to it. 4:03. It was 4:03 in the morning, and I woke up screaming. It was my dream. In my dream, I watched everyone I ever knew or loved be killed by the creature. It had a short, fat body and long, slender arms, which ended with claws that looked more like swords than claws. Its eyes were slits that glowed red in the darkness, and its teeth were long like horns and sharp like steak knives. It looked at me before it killed them, and laughed each time before it ripped apart my loved ones with its sharp claws. How had it found us? It tricked me into letting it into my home by mimicking the voice of my father. It couldn't come in without permission, it told me after it ripped out my mother's heart. The dream ended with the creature laughing its evil cackle and slowly walking towards me, dragging its claws on the floor. I screamed and sat up. I was in my room, in my bed, safe again. 4:03. I hear a knock at the door. I froze up instantly. Tommy? I heard you screaming. Are you all right? I heard my mother say. What a relief. Mom's here. I'm fine, Mom. Just a bad dream, I replied. The relief washing over me. Okay, honey. I got you a glass of water. Do you want it? Mom said back to me. Sure. Come in, I said. And as those words left my mouth, I remembered that it was September, and I had moved back into my college dorm 3 weeks ago. Oh. Well, goodbye to him. That was pretty good. Okay, here's one of those really short ones. Short creepy pasta, another Wylam 3. Little Emily vanished last year. Wait, this was the cement one. Isn't that the very... I swore one of these other guys. Oh, did it mix it up? I think it did. Okay. Well, that's fine. We'll just have to look back. We already saw he stood up against the window in the last video. Hands, we have not read this. The doctor pulled the stethoscope, ear tips out, and hung the device around his neck. Mr. Weatherby, all of your tests have come back negative and my examination shows nothing abnormal. Adam knew what was coming next. I'm not crazy, doctor. I'm sorry, but there is no physical reason for why you occasionally lose control of your hands. A psychologist can help. I don't need therapy. I need answers. They seem to have a life all of their own. I can't hold a job. I'm under investigation for assault. I almost killed my neighbor. This can't go on. I'll try anything at this point. After 2 weeks on a new medication, Adam saw no progress and grew increasingly depressed. He was convinced that despite what the doctor said, it was not a psychological problem. That night, a frustrated and angry Adam sat in a chair and drank bourbon. Drunk and hopeless, he stumbled to the garage and started the table saw, then slowly lowered his wrists toward the screaming blade. Oh God. Detective Armstrong entered the garage where several uniformed officers stood over the blood-soaked body. So what do we got? He asked, taking in the blood-splattered scene. This is a weird one, Detective. How so? Take a look at the body. He apparently chopped off his hands with the table saw and bled to death. Armstrong knelt down, and we can't find his hands anywhere. Ooh. Heck. There was no pearly gate. The only reason I knew I was in a cave was because I had just passed the entrance. The rock wall rose behind me with no ceiling in sight. I knew this was it. This was what religion talked about, what man feared. I had just entered the gates to heck. I felt the presence of the cave as if it was a living, breathing creature. The stench of rotten flesh overwhelmed me. Then there was this voice. It came from inside and all around. "Welcome." "Who are you?" I asked, trying to keep my composure. "You know," the thing answered. I did know. "You are the devil," I stuttered, quickly losing my composure. "Why me? I've lived as good as I could." The silence took over the space as my words died out. It seemed like an hour went by before the response came. "What did you expect?" The voice was penetrating but patient. "I don't know. Never believed any of this," I uttered. "Is that why I'm here?" Silence. I continued. "They say the greatest trick you ever pulled was convincing the world you don't exist." "No, the greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world that there is an alternative." "There's no God?" I shivered. The cave trembled with the words, "I am God." Oh. That one's wild. Okay. Alright, we already read angels. Noises? I don't think we did. She was holding his hand tightly when he heard a noise coming from off in the shadows. Beyond the ring cast from the solitary light above, he could see only darkness. She must have sensed his sudden distress as she placed her hand against his chest. Again, a noise. It sounded closer this time. They weren't alone in this park. Her heart was racing now to match his. He didn't speak as to hear better and gave her a look. Her eyes were wide open now. She must have heard it too. The noise came again. Something was moving in the bushes. The glint of eyes caught the light for just a second. He turned to meet her stare. She must have seen it too. The noise of rustling leaves and movement came again as it came into the light. The cat stopped and studied them for a second before re-entering the darkness. No, that's not too bad. He sighed with relief and tightened his grip on her throat as she slid the knife from her chest. Oh! Her grip slackened, and he smiled as he watched the life extinguish from her eyes. That was some deflection. I dig it. Okay. I don't remember the red wristband. We did see the rear view. That was that giant thing that was hanging onto the back of the car. So let's do the red wristband. When you are admitted to a hospital, they place on your wrist a white wristband with your name on it. But there are other different colored wristbands which symbolize other things. The red wristbands are placed on dead people. There was one surgeon who worked on night shift in a school hospital. He had just finished an operation and was on his way down to the basement. He entered the elevator and there was just one other person there. He casually chatted with the woman while the elevator descended. When the elevator door opened, another woman was about to enter when the doctor slammed the close button and punched the button to the highest floor. Surprised, the woman reprimanded the doctor for being rude and asked why he did not let the other woman in. The doctor said, "That was a woman I just operated on. She died while I was doing the operation. Didn't you see the red wristband she was wearing?" The woman smiled and raised her arm. Something like this? Whoa. I'd be like, "Look, can we just be friends? Because I don't know what's happening here, but you're obviously, you've got a red wristband." And I think that's cool. It goes great with your eyes and not the color of red that's inside me that might be strewn all over this elevator. Okay. I don't remember doing so. I lost my phone. Let's see. Last night, a friend rushed me out of the house to catch the opening act at a local bard's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table where we were sitting at, the bar, the bathrooms, and after no luck, I used my friend's phone to call mine. After 2 rings, someone answered, gave out a low, raspy giggle, and hung up. Ew. They didn't answer again. I eventually gave it up as a lost cause and headed home. I found my phone laying on my nightstand, right where I left it. Oh, that was a good straight-to-the-point story. Okay. Father figure we did, that's the one where the girl sees ghosts, or stops seeing ghosts, of her dad. I don't remember Snap. Every month a beautiful woman would drop her film off at the camera store to get it developed. He didn't know her name, but she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen and was also a wonderful photographer. It made his day when he got to develop her photos. The pictures were of her, sometimes at the beach in a bikini, sometimes at a picnic lunch, always smiling. A close-up photo of her face revealed her beautiful, clear blue eyes that he would dream about at work when it was a quiet day. One time, a naked photo even slipped through. A self-portrait she had taken in the bathroom. This was before digital cameras, and there was no way to delete photos off the roll. But of course, as he suspected, this one was put in just for him to see. He kept it. One month, a man started appearing in all her pictures. This man was smiling too, and hugging her in many of the photos. Sometimes at the beach, sometimes at a picnic. He didn't like that. So he got rid of all the photos with this other man in them. After this, she didn't get her photos developed there anymore. This passed, however, and soon enough photos of her started to come through the shop again. The man she was with didn't appear in the photos anymore. And she doesn't smile much anymore. In fact, she appears to be crying in most of the photos. Most the pictures are taken from outside a glass window, and the only close-up now of her beautiful eyes is when they're closed and she's fast asleep. Oh. Oh no. I love the fact I'm reading them, but I'm so focused on the narration that then it clicks after I read it and I'm like, oh god. Okay. Let's see. Snap. Oh wait, no, that's the one we just did. I accidentally clicked on him. Sister, I don't remember. My sister always screams in the middle of the night. Horrible, blood-curdling screams, and I cannot get her to stop. I lie in my bed, away from the earth, dreaming in mist, and her screams penetrate my ears. She cries for me. She cries for someone. I cannot help her. Nothing I do will make her stop. I bring her some fresh lavender one day. I hope the scent can calm her. My eyes shut and I drift away. But she screams. What can I do, sister? Why do you scream? What scares you? You will not tell me. I can't help. One night, when the screams are too much, I get up. I will stop her screams. I make my way to her bed and kneel down right on top of her. Stop screaming. Stop screaming. I look down at her, but I cannot see her. It is dark, and there's distance between us. Stop screaming. She stops, but only because she knows someone is there. Mind you, I can't yell those parts right now because I'm doing this late and I don't really want to wake up people, so yeah. She is quiet. She doesn't want them to know she's there. My mother, telling me to go back to my bed. I need to stop coming to see my sister at night. But don't you hear the screams, Mother? But she doesn't. It is only me. My sister pretends to be asleep. I get up. I'm dirty from the ground where I knelt over my sister's grave. Oh, she rests in her coffin, dead. But she still screams. That's a mind twister. Oh, dig it. Instant messaging and what it's untold about the dead. Who haven't done either one of these. Let's do them. It all started on the 14th night of March, the night of my parents' 20th wedding anniversary. It was a wonderful sunny day, if memory serves. Surprisingly warm for before the beginning of spring. Global warming, am I right? Whoops. The beautiful weather was perfect for the atmosphere of the day. Being married for 20 years is obviously a momentous occasion, so my parents had booked a table at our favorite Italian restaurant. It was 5:33, and I was just straightening my tie when my phone went off. I'd received a message. I checked the message. It was from my mom. It was quite a jumble of numbers and letters, but through the vocabulary stew, I can make out one legible phrase. Please help me. It should go without saying that this worried me greatly, so I immediately replied, "Are you okay?" Just as instantly, I got another text which read, "Oops." Pocket text. I sighed with all the relief I had and continued to prepare myself. A few minutes later, I received yet another message, this time from my dad. I checked the text, and once again it was a massive mixture of letters and numbers, with the phrase, "Please help me," concealed within. Creepy though this was, my dad was always a joker, so I presumed he was just joking around, until I was sent another text saying, "Oops." Pocket text. Now this sparked panic, pure, unmistakable panic. Exactly half a minute passed when I received the exact same two messages from my sister. This could not be coincidental. It just couldn't. In a state of sheer anxiety, I started to run to the restaurant. I made it about a quarter of the way before I was stopped by a police officer. "Main road's closed," he said. "Huge car crash." This was the exact moment I realized just what had happened. I demanded to see the wreckage, a request which I was surprised was allowed. When I got there, it wasn't the remnants of the car that caught my eye. nor the flames billowing from the destroyed vehicle. No. I was horrified to see the lifeless corpses of my mother, father, and sister. I asked for the estimated time of their deaths. All three of them were killed instantly by the collision at 5:32, a minute before the very first text. Ooh. Spoopy. Those always catch me. I'm like, I understand the setup, but so many of these like, and then I got that message after they had died. And I'm like, but why though? Alright. What it's untold about the dead. I don't know if that's supposed to be an is, but we'll find out. I don't want to sound mean, but the dead are pretty clueless. I've always seen them. When I was younger, everyone thought I was just talking to my imaginary friends. After a couple of years, when I overheard my parents talk about calling a psychologist, I realized what I was talking to. See, ghosts don't tend to realize they're dead, and they don't look like in the movies. They look just like us. I'm pretty smart for a 13-year-old, so I started noticing certain patterns to tell them apart from the living. They could be a bit distanced from the living people, or you'd see them try to talk to people who wouldn't even notice them. Some of them could tell I was different, and that I noticed them. Like this guy I saw after school yesterday. I'm a big boy now, see. I don't need my parents to pick me up. Home is just a short walk away. He was standing away from the other parents, didn't talk to them, just stared at me. That's how I knew he was one of the ghosts. I went over, told him I knew what he was, and asked how I could help him. I don't remember much after that. I think because of what happened this morning. Downstairs, my parents were crying. Tried talking to them, but they ignored me. They must have died last night somehow. Sometimes the new ghosts wouldn't talk to me. Some police officers and reporters just arrived. They won't talk to me either. Just like my parents. It's weird. I've never seen so many ghosts together before. Oh. Rip, kid. Okay. What have you got? Lucky. I'll remember that one. If you're lucky, you'll never know about it. Your life will be spent in the bliss that only come from the ignorance of the dark horrors that scratch and gnaw at the edges of reality. You'll never hear the dark whispers coming from the closet. Never feel the cold chill creeping along your spine. You'll never pause at a turn in the hallway because you know that if you look down at it, you'll see something that shouldn't be there. Something that creeps, stalks, and skulks in the shadows. I am Batman. Sorry. Something that, once it sees you, will never stop coming for you. It won't come for you when you are sleeping. It wants you to know it's there. It wants you to hear the relentless sound of its footsteps, the panting of its breath. It wants to smell your fear, to hear your whimper, and to see the horror on your face as it approaches. So what, they have a house cat too? If you've any sense at all, you won't try to find it. You'll never pay attention to the sounds. You won't try to catch sight of those things that flit by the corner of your eye. Your ignorance will be your shield and your protection. Do not be overly curious. Discount the sounds as the quirks of an old house, or the heating system, or any other excuse you can think of. Whatever you do, don't believe. Because once you believe, they'll become real. Once you inquire into their existence, they will solidify. And once you finally uncover them for what they are, they'll come for you. I like it. White. Good enough title? A man went to a hotel and walked up to the front desk to check in. The woman at the desk gave him his key and told him that on the way to his room, there was a door with no number that was locked and no one was allowed in there. Especially no one should look inside the room under any circumstances. So he followed the instructions of the woman at the front desk, going straight to his room and going to bed. The next night, his curiosity would not leave him alone about the room with no number on the door. He walked down the hall to the door and tried the handle. Sure enough, it was locked. He bent down and looked through the wide keyhole. Cold air passed through it, chilling his eye. What he saw was a hotel bedroom, like his, and in the corner was a woman whose skin was completely white. She was leaning her head against the wall, facing away from the door. He stared in confusion for a while. He almost knocked on the door, out of curiosity, but decided not to. He crept away from the door and walked back to his room. The next day, he returned to the door and looked through the wide keyhole. This time, all he saw was redness. He couldn't make anything out besides a distinct red color, unmoving. Perhaps the inhabitants of the room knew he was spying the night before and had blocked the keyhole with something red. At this point, he decided to consult the woman at the front desk for more information. She sighed and said, "Did you look through the keyhole?" The man told her that he had, and she said, "Well, I might as well tell you the story. A long time ago, a man murdered his wife in that room, and her ghost haunts it. But these people were not ordinary. They were white all over, except for their eyes. Oh, which were red." So she was looking right back at him. Alright. Windows. Did we do this one? Hunter in the woods, who, after a long day of hunting... Yeah, this was the one about the hunter that was in the cabin, so that was in part 1 of this Campfire series. Thanks. It's 3 a.m. and you've been up all night on a horror binge. Oh, the irony. You've watched your favorite horrors movies, read your favorite scary stories, and even attempted the old Bloody Mary trick in your mirror. You stretch and yawn, deciding now is about the time to hit the hay. So you move into the bedroom and lay down to sleep. After a while, however, you realize that you can't get the images of some of the fictional creatures you saw on your TV out of your head. Meh. I'm going to hate myself for this tomorrow, you say aloud as you flick on your bedroom lamp, knowing that having a nightlight used to help you getting rid of your nightmares as a little kid. Within minutes, you're close to sleep, snuggled up comfortably under the blankets with your eyes closed. More pleasant thoughts on your mind. That is, until you detect something moving in front of the light, casting a shadow over you. You blink, beginning to turn towards the lamp before a rotting hand grabs hold of your shoulder. Thanks for turning on the light. I wouldn't have been able to find you in the darkness. Oh, so it backfired. Alright. Bad idea. Short creepypasta. Oh, this is the soul one, every time you exhale. That was in part 1. With the dolls, this was the guy who, who dated, the dating one. That was what I was in a Walker. Hang on. Yeah, this is it. We've seen this. This is part one. That was the dating story. Medic. In the winter of 1944, with the overtaxed supply lines in the Ardennes, a German medic had completely run out of plasma, bandages, and antiseptic. During one particularly bad round of mortar fire, his encampment suddenly became a bloodbath. Their survivors claimed to hear above the screams and barked commands of their lieutenant. Okay, that's all one thing. Someone cackling with almost girlish glee. Oh god. The medic made his rounds during the fire, in almost complete darkness as he had so many times before, but never this short on supplies. The bombardment moved to the other end of the line. Most men dropped off to sleep in the still dark hours of the morning. New Year's Day, 1945. The men awoke at first light with screams. They discovered that their bandages were not typical bandages at all, but hunks and strips of human flesh. Several men had been given fresh blood transfusions with no blood supplies available. Each treated man was almost completely covered, head to toe, with a maroon stain of blood. The medic was found, sitting on an ammunition tin, staring off into space. When one man approached him, tapped him on the shoulder, his tunic fell off to reveal all skin. Muscle and sinew had been stripped from his torso, and his body almost completely dried of blood. In one hand was a scalpel, and in the other, a blood transfusion vial. None of the men treated for wounds that night, and that camp saw the end of January 1945. Huh. So he used his own body to make supplies. Oh. Or something. Something crazy went wrong with that dude. Okay. What was the bad idea one? Oh, no. I had said that. It was the soul one. So that was Medic Pendant. We didn't see Pendant. Scarecrow was the one about the bodies that needed to be replaced in the field. That was wild. I don't remember another mirror. I think we did it. We did look at it. We'll see. Usual awake to some noise off in the distance. You look at your red lettered clock. 3:21. You hear it. You hear it noise again. Okay. Someone's knocking on your door. There's no reason to be afraid. You remind yourself, but you can't imagine any reason why someone would be up this late. You quietly walk over to the door. Hello? Knock. 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 Hello? Are you home? Knock. 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 Please be home. Hello? She mumbles something. I need your help. Knock. 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 You recognize her voice and look out the window. It's your neighbor. She's wearing her pajamas and some shining pendant around her neck. She sees you. Oh! She looks afraid at first, and then puts on a worried smile. Can I use your phone? I need to come in. Why can't you use your phone? Mine is broke. She pauses. I think someone's inside my house. You pause for a moment to look at the fear in her face. When you open the door, it slowly dawns on you. Whoever it is isn't inside her house. He's behind her. And what's shining by her neck isn't a pendant. Oh. It's a knife. That was actually pretty neat. Yeah, the scarecrow is the bodied one, like I said. This one, I think we did. Next time you're alone in your room, dim the lights. Yeah, this was the hair one. That was in part 1 of this little campfire short series. So, anyway, yeah, that's it. And that was part 2. And believe it or not, that was about a 35-minute episode, minus some maybe editing here or there. But yeah, that said, again, this is a kind of a spooky season special. A little departure from my normal type of videos, but I thought it'd be cool to do. So anyway, if you did enjoy the video, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe. And it's the only way to help the channel grow. And with that said, I'll see you all in the next one. Later.